Here we are again, once again, story time with Paul B. And I'm coming to you tonight with another classic story. This is another one of those stories that you probably have heard before, but you hadn't heard it the way I tell it. So I'm excited about sharing this story with you. I've been, as a salesperson, as a speaker, as an entrepreneur for about 30 years now. You accumulate these stories over time, and some of them fit into the category of useful fiction. And I thought it might be fun to share these useful fiction story with you, my friends, my entrepreneurial friends. And I'm looking forward to tonight's story with you. So we're going to get it started right now. Without further ado, cue the music.
Hey, yeah, come through, everybody come see. Story time with Paul B.
Yeah.
If entertainment is what you need, story time with Paul B. Yeah. Interesting, entertaining for sure. Stories for adults, parents, to entrepreneurs. Got you laughing, you gonna have a good time. Still educational, this is what you want now. Come through, everybody come see. Story time with Paul B. Yeah. If entertainment is what you need, story time with Paul B. Let's go.
All right, story time with Paul B. Oh, Lord. Story time with Paul B. The music was in loop, ready to go. But anyway, I am excited about sharing this time with you. So let's get right into the story. Another classic story. There was this town, it was in a valley. There was a city in a valley. And the word came, leave this valley because the rain is coming and you're going to need to go to higher ground because the potential for flood is high. We're not sure if the dam is going to be able to hold this flood back. Sure enough, the rains came and the floods came, and most people left the valley to go to higher ground for safety. But there was this one man there who decided that he has faith. He has strong faith, and he knows that God is going to take care of him, and he doesn't need to go to higher ground. So he decides he's going to stay there in his own home. The floods come. The water gets into his home on the first level. And the water's on the first level up to his knees, up to his waist. He goes up to the second floor. The water continues to rise. He gets up onto his roof. And even though his home is overtaken by water, the water's over his roof now. He's standing on the roof with water up to his knees. Two men come by in a rowboat. They say, get in our boat. We're going up to higher ground. He goes, no, I'm not leaving my home. I have faith, and I know that God is going to take care of me. I'm going to stay right here. Try as they might, they can't get him to leave. So he stays. They row on. A little while later, the water's at the man's waist, and a guy comes by in a speedboat. Says, come on, get in my boat. We're going up to higher ground. He goes, no, I'm not going anywhere. I know that my faith is strong. I know my God is going to take care of me. I'm going to stay right here. And can't talk him into it. The speedboat goes away. A little while later, the water is at the man's chest. And he's praying to God to save him. A helicopter comes by, drops a rope ladder down to him. They say, grab a hold to the ladder and we'll take you to higher ground. He yells back, no, I'm not going anywhere. I have faith. I know God is going to take care of me. I'm going to stay right here. They leave. The water overtakes the man, and he ends up meeting his maker. And when he meets his maker, he says, God, why didn't you take care of me? I had such faith that you would take care of me. He says, I sent you 2 boats and a helicopter. Now, the story of 2 boats and a helicopter is one of my favorite stories because very often the things that we feel we need, very often the things that we want, God has put all around us. All around us. He's sending us the help that we need if we're just willing to hold on to the ladder, if we're willing to get into that rowboat, if we're willing to get into that speedboat, very often, this is a Brother Brian interpretation, we get into God's way from the help that he's trying to give us. The story of two boats and a helicopter, I think, is an important story. It's a story that should be shared again and again and again. And it's one of those stories that we all need to hear as a reminder from time to time. My name is Paul B. And the story of two boats and a helicopter. Please feel free to share these stories if you find value in it. Let your friends know about it. I'm going to do story time with Paul B. Sunday night through Thursday night at 9 p.m. The stories aren't long, but I'm hopeful that you get the message. Again, I appreciate you joining me for story time with Paul B. And feel free to share these stories.
Hey, yeah, come through, everybody come see. Story time with Paul B. Yeah. If entertainment is what you need, story time with Paul B. Yeah. Interesting, entertaining for sure. Stories for adults, parents, to entrepreneurs. Got you laughing, you won't have a good time. Still educational, this is what you want now. Come through, everybody come see. Story time with Paul B.
Yeah.
If entertainment is what you need, story time with Paul B.
Let's go. I love my jam. Story time with Paul B. Yeah. Thank you for those of you guys who chose to join me tonight. God bless you. Share this good word. I'll see you tomorrow night at 9 p.m. for another edition of Story Time with Paul B.